this like udon noodles, right? Udon noodles, like so, but like we are making it in on like ramen machine. So basically, this is a flour, udon flour. Udon flour is different from ramen flour, like like has like less protein content, or like has like higher viscosity content. It's more elastic and lower ash content. It's like ash content like lower, less ash content, like the less dark the color will be. And see this, it's like salt, right? And then like look at this amount of salt like we're adding to this dough, right? To make dough, and this is vinegar and water, right? So we're going to first make dough. And so we are making the dough like in this machine, which means one machine. And this mixer is like 10 kilogram mixer, and the minimum batch is like 4 kilograms. So we are doing 4 kilograms, the minimum batch. And over here we have, so we are making liquid, right? Like liquid, because we have to like dissolve a lot of salt, right? A lot of salt. So we need to like kind of, well, melt the salt, like just a certain amount of salt, right, in the water in the bowl, and then add it back to the water, and then like add some more water, and then like dissolve the salt again. Just kind of repeat this step like until we have like all the salt like dissolved, right? So it's you just have to make sure that like all the salts like be dissolved, right, so that we are sort of like maintaining the sodium level, like salty level of this liquid. And we also added the vinegar. So we're just adding this liquid to the flour, the mixer, right? And then look at the mixer, like so has the lid, right? And then like the lid, like there are holes, right? There are holes, like small holes that allow this liquid to be drip through the, to the flour little by little to kind of render kind of good hydration of the dough. So that's what this mixer is pretty good at doing, like a good like facilitating a good hydration of the dough. And we can't just just keep watching this mixer for another 5 minutes. So maybe we made the dough in advance, right, for you guys to see how the process goes. And so this is the udon dough, right? Udon dough, and what we are doing is that like we are, well, kind of making it firm, because this dough is like still like sort of like crumbles, like kind of chunks of dough, right? But we need to like kind of make it firm by pressing it. And so to do that, like we use this kind of, well, device, like kind of machine that like it's a press machine, and that sort of like mimics the that's what it means, like like human beings like kind of stepping on the dough with the feet. 'Cause that's how we sort of like, well, like how actually some of like udon shops actually do make the dough. So they step on the dough with their feet, right? To sort of like apply like equal amount of pressure on the like entire area of the dough. And this machine, like press machine, allows us to do that. And and we have to say that it's like this is a lot of work actually. It's like even though you just like stepping on the dough with the feet, it takes a lot of energy, actually a lot of energy and time. I bet like if you do this like size of dough, foot stepping, I bet like it take you like 30 minutes or so, and it consumes you like a lot of energy. doing that. But like using this machine, just like uh, for like just few minutes, taking few minutes, and then just 3 to 5 times of just pressing, right? So it's yeah, it's easy on your body, and it's pretty good. Yeah, and so notice how she's folding the dough, right? She's folding like the dough like inwards, and then kind of in the different directions at each round of pressing, so that like the dough, like entire area of dough gets pressed, right, pressured. So it's kind of getting worked up, like their gluten structure inside dough is getting developed in that way. So this is the third time of pressing. Okay, and see how it's coming up, and so folding it again and flipping it over and do it. For the probably last round, or so yeah, this is a udon machine, called it Shimuchi, and then it's like all in one machine. But like this machine is like designed to do udon noodles. It's got like mixer, like press machine, and like roller unit, and then like cutting unit, cutter unit. It's got everything, right? Like for you to just be able, like make well noodles from scratch. But we're just using this part of the machine to walk the dough, and we actually yeah, we can actually provide this part of machine, like press unit only, out of this machine. So yeah, so like our customers like using our like Richmond machine, like the ramen machines, can just get that press unit to be able like actually make this kind of noodle. And so she divided up, right, into 4 pieces, and um, she's going to put it in the aging cabinet, and well, rest it overnight. Yeah, so that's resting overnight. So like she had it rested like for 2 hours, like 28 degrees Celsius. The dough she just pressed, right? And then now she's putting this dough back into the aging cabinet again, to rest it for overnight, like at temperature of like 18 degrees Celsius, kind of cooler temperature. And yeah, of course, like we can't just wait here, like just stand here, like just wait for the aging to be done, like for 16 hours or something like that. So like she prepared this dough in advance yesterday. So we are going to sheet this dough on the ramen machine, but before that, right? Because it's too thick, right, to go into the rollers in the ramen machine. So we want like flattening, right? Flatten the dough to be thin enough to be able to like go into the roller, and just again using this like press unit machine to flatten these dough. Okay, let's see how. All right, so we got two doughs, um, flat, and think they're think they're thin enough to. And it's got to be like thin enough and narrow enough to be like going to the roller. So that's another, so just a bit of challenge. Just stay with us. Yeah, so like a lot of times like we do high hydration noodles in this Richmond machine, like ramen machine, right? And then but like it's probably like up to like 40%, 40%, right? Like if you go beyond 40%, it gets harder to do it on this machine. And yeah, it's like, and then this udon dough, right? Udon dough, like hydration is actually 50%, like 51, 52%. Like, so it's very high in hydration ratio. And um, so for noodles, right? For noodles, like 50%, 51%, like it's very, very high. So it's really hard to do, like, because like this machine is designed to do rather like low hydration ratio noodles, because like ramen noodles like kind of low in hydration like in general. So it's kind of hard to do, hard for this kind of machine to do this kind of noodles. Okay. So this is udon, and right, so let's go into the next thinning. And it's very important to dust it, right? Dust it because like it's really wet, sticky, right? So like we really have to like dust a lot on the dough, to prevent it from sticking. It's yeah, so it's like it's very important to, yeah, be dust like really well. And yeah, so as you can see, like we're dusting like kind of automatically in this auto duster, right? And then this device, right, you can actually control the amount of dusting we can do, right? And this is extremely high in hydration stove, right? It's like we have to dust a lot to keep it from sticking. And notice that like she's sort of like cheating it like well, a couple times, like repeatedly, and it, like well, what she's doing is that like she's well narrowing the roller gap like every time like she's it, right? And so basically like we gradually thin the dough um, to sort of like retain the gluten structure of the dough. Like if you thin it like drastically and like you just you're just damaging the gluten structure. So like that's not like good for noodle texture. So really have to like kind of go gradual thinning. Okay, so that dough just went through 3 millimeter roller gap, and but the actual thickness is like what 4.2, 4.2 ish. So the dough expanded by it's like almost like 1.2 millimeter. So before yeah, before you cut, right? Before you cut this dough into the noodle strands, what we want to know, like how much the dough expands, right? So that we know, okay, what the roller gap we need to set to get to the final thickness that we want, right? And so she adjusted the roller gap, and we're gonna cut it. Okay, so let's start cutting it, and um, yeah, so this is the kind of cutter we use to cut noodles, and like this is number 8 cutter, and number 8 is a 4.0 millimeter, 4.0. That's a width, and so that's a width, right? And then that's fixed. So each groove of that cutter, makes noodle strand that's 4.0 millimeter in width, right? And the thickness is, we are controlling by roller gap, right? So that's uh, that's how we adjust the noodle size, thickness and width. And the 4.0 millimeter is like kind of, well, a little bit, a little bit thinner, a little bit smaller for example, like Sanuki udon noodles. But it's a good size. Yeah, but it's a good size for noodles. And so the noodles coming out, and well, and you can control the length, right? Length of noodles, and so length of noodle actually determines the portion size of the noodles. So the basically longer the noodles, the well bigger the portion size, right? Yeah. So that's how you how you make like extra high hydration noodles on the ramen machine. Okay. So let's go to the kitchen, right? And then let us show you guys just really simple udon dish that you can actually do at home, and because it's very very easy, so anybody can do it, and you can even like serve it to your family, and um, anybody can do it. And this is our kitchen, and this is where we teach our ramen school, udon school, and yeah, it's very kind of small for like elementary school, but like we focus on like kind of one-on-one kind of teaching, right? And then so um, maximum number of people like we can have like is 8 people, and actually we're gonna have like our ramen school, like in-person ramen school next month, and I think this is gonna be the first real in-person ramen school that we're gonna have here. Well, we're gonna have like students from overseas, for the first time, like since the COVID happened. So like it was like for the first time like in almost like 2.5 years. Yeah. So it's like we're kind of excited, yeah, to have like students coming from like overseas. That kind of tells us that like okay, like like things are getting back to like kind of normal, and you know, so it's great. It's great that all people coming from different parts of the world back to Japan, and uh, we get quite excited to well teach, and the real class, I mean real school, and yeah, and we are also excited that like we started online school as well, like ramen school that's available right now already, and yeah, so everything is out, and all the courses available already, and yeah, if you guys are interested in like just please, yeah, you can actually already start taking the course online, and like you can actually learn everything about ramen, and like learning about like how to make certain types, like certain components like tare, flavored oil, like base stock, in different types, right? And basically like taking these courses, right, and then like learning how to make like each component and from scratch, and then yeah, and then just like kind of combining them at the different ratios, gives you like, well, pretty much like infinite number of like types of like ramen that you can make, right? So it's a pretty more like it's a complete, comprehensive ramen course that we put together, and so if you guys are interested, like just please check out our yeah, ramen course, online ramen school. And now we are what we're doing right now is that like we are actually, well, boiling the water, right? And when you're cooking the noodles, right, make sure that you have, well, boiling water and boiling. It's like it has to be like boiling, right, before you put noodles in there, right? And make sure that you have like enough water. It's got to be like at least like 10 times the amount of like the quantity of noodles that you're cooking. For example, like, so if you're cooking like 300 grams of noodles, right, in the weight, and you should have like at least like 3,000 grams of water boiling before you're putting the noodles in there. Because if you have less water than that, then the noodles gonna not gonna cook well. Yeah, for the noodles to be like cooking like well, optimally, like you have to have like, well, good amount of water, and well, it's got to be boiling before you put the noodles in there. So, and especially we're talking about udon noodles, like which are really thick, and it takes time. So you have to have, well, good amount of water, and at the same time it's got to be boiling. Okay, so we have a boiling water now, and we add the noodles in there, right? And of course, like when you put noodles in there, right, in the boiling water, the cooking water like temperature like drops, right? Because the noodles are colder, and so you have to have, well, you have like kind of like immediately start starting noodles, right? And make sure that like entire area of the noodles gets heated from water, right? And it's important that, well, the after you put noodles in there, like it's important, like you, well, try to get that boiling back up as fast as you can. So that's one of the things you do. And then once it starts boiling, like kind of violently boiling, you want to kind of turn down the heat a little bit to kind of simmering state, so that the noodles, like surface noodles, are not gonna get like damaged from the kind of the bubbling, like the rolling boiling water. So over here we have like a bowl, right? And I'm just gonna crack some egg in there. Just gonna crack some egg, and I don't know how many eggs I'm supposed to crack, but probably cracking there like maybe five of them, 5 eggs. It's just like amount of eggs, how many eggs like you have need to crack, like for how, like the, well, the like weight of the noodles, like how much noodles. It really kind of depends on like your preference too, but like um, yeah, I think like if you're serving like maybe like 5 people, then like crack 5 eggs or something like that. Like just kind of make it like kind of simple. And this is kind of like processed cheese, and it's the one that like kind of melts um, in the heat. So um, it's gonna be like, I don't know if it's like it's gonna be like sound right, but like So it's like Italian, like it's not like kind of like carbonara kind of thing. Like yeah, it's like kind of cream pasta, like with the like eggs and some black pepper and like like some bacon. Yeah, so kind of I'm kind of doing the kind of same kind of something similar with the udon, and it's very easy to do with the udon because like udon, it takes time to cook udon noodles because they are thick, right? And then, but like the dish that I'm doing, like it's called like kamaage, and kamaage means like just cook noodles, and there are a lot like starch on the surface of noodles, but like just ignoring them, right? Then we're just gonna eat that noodles, right out of the pot, right? Right out of the pot, right out of the cooking pot. So, um, yeah, that way, you know, it's not gonna take that long time. Like if you're cooking like, for example, like udon noodles for like hot soup noodles, then we probably have to like cook for like 8 minutes or so, because we need to like take the noodles away out and then like wash them and cool them, and so it has to be sort of like cooked thoroughly, right? So that's why it takes like 8 minutes, like 7 minutes, like depending on the noodle size. And then like if you're cooking like cold noodles, then you'd have to like even like cook them for longer time, like because you wash them and then you need to like chill them, which makes the noodles tighter, like harder. So you probably need to like cook them for like 10 minutes. But like for this one, the noodle is gonna stay hot, right? Stay hot after you take the noodles out, right? Because you're not gonna wash them or anything. Um, so they're gonna stay hot, and then using the heat, right, from the noodles, you can actually cook the eggs and cheese, right? And then the udon noodles also contain a lot of water, as you guys saw, right? When we show you guys the salt, amount of salt that we use the udon noodles, right? So so we could get like some sodium out of the udon noodles as well, and so we don't have to use any salt to season it, and it's got some salt, like kind of sodium from the cheese as well, and just black pepper, and then like I just chopped up like some scallions here, and I'm gonna add a bit of like kind of dashi as well. So yeah, it's gonna be like salty enough, and um, yeah, so like just using the heat out of the noodles, so it's gonna be like really easy and kind of efficient. And then yeah, so after you cook noodles, right, like what you do is just like dump these noodles into the bowl, and just stir them. So just basically like just stir everything, right? Just stir everything well. I think it was a bit too much. One, probably one too many eggs, but that's okay. Because we're gonna cook more udon later. So just to serve it, like just oops, and then just put some scallion in there, and black pepper it, and just a bit of dashi. So yeah, so this is very easy, like this, just very simple, pretty efficient, because like you're using like all the heat out of like udon noodles and everything, and using the heat, you can cook the eggs and melt the cheese, and yeah, so it's very simple. Kamaage carbonara, some kamaage udon noodles.